Hey up, so here we are again with more Shameless reviews because seemingly out of the blue, Shameless announced and then quickly released 2 feature films on the same day. So I thought I'd do likewise and I'm going to review both these films on the same day. So consider this a Shameless double release, double bill, and this will be episode 1. If you're watching this as it comes out, the second part will also be released shortly after this one has. If you're just watching this after release, then the second part will be on my YouTube channel. You may have already seen it, who knows, but it'll just be there to watch. So for part 1, we're going to be checking out spine number 23. That's right, they still haven't rectified the missing spine number 20, and yes, I will keep bringing it up until it's sorted, because the more films they release, the stupider it's starting to look. But anyway, spine number 23 is Footprints, also known as Footprints on the Moon, Primal Impulse, or Le Orne. This is a 1975 Italian Giallo film directed by Luigi Bazzoni. Is that right? Yes, Luigi Bazzoni. So many Italian names in these reviews. And it's based off the book, which I definitely will butcher here, Las Hulas by Mario Fenelli. The film stars Florinda Balkan, who we have seen before in these review series. You may recognise her from episode 17's Flavia the Heretic. The film also stars one of my favourite actors, Klaus Kinski, who is probably best known for his works with Werner Herzog. So, I know nothing about this film really. I think I was recommended it once a while back by a subscriber, but I can't say I've really heard of it or know much about it. So let's have a look, shall we?
Gunter here, Gunter here. Professor Blackman, do you hear me? Over.
Receiving you, over.
Everything has gone according to schedule. McGregor has already come around.
I never saw the end. I left before it was over. It was called Blood on the Moon. No, Footprints on the Moon.
The film follows Alice, who, after waking from a moon-related nightmare, realises that she seems to be missing a few days. So after finding clues in her apartment, she sets off to a place called Garma to figure out what happened to her. In Garma, though, it seems that everybody already knows who she is, but under a different name. So what could have possibly happened to her, and what did she get up to in those missing few days? Honestly, I thought this was pretty great, to be honest. It may be tamer than a Fulci or an Argento by way of Giallo, but it makes up for this with a persistently unnerving and tense atmosphere. And honestly, it did keep me hooked.
Hi.
Hi.
Fox isn't here today.
Who is Fox?
The stray dog. I brought him a bone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The acting and dubbing are all pretty decent here, to be honest. No complaints really, especially the side characters. They're all odd and uncanny, they all have the little quirks. And it all adds this sort of dreamlike atmosphere with them. Think something like Silent Hill 2 or something like that. You're never too sure whether they're there to help or to hinder. And it helps with the sort of tension that's being built up, and I thought it worked really well, to be honest. As I said, this is a much tamer Giallo, focuses a little bit more on the mystery, I guess, which sort of leaves the gore and the sleaze that you'd expect from this sort of film behind. We do get small elements here, but it's really nothing worth mentioning. It is really shoved to the side. But the mystery's brought forward, and that's pretty good. And also, what we get to heighten this film is an amazing soundtrack, and even more so, amazing cinematography. This film looks absolutely incredible. And it's no surprise really, because we've got Vittorio Storaro. I knew I was going to stumble on his name. Vittorio Storaro working with the camera department and the cinematography side. and he later went on to work on Apocalypse Now, so it says a lot really, I'd say. The camera's active, not afraid to move around and pan out and really show off some of the big environments and the scale of things. It's really cool to see. We also get a bit of experimentation with tints and black and white, which I thought really heightened some shots, especially some of the moon scenes. Now, a negative that I have with this film, I've done nothing but praise it so far, but it's not a perfect film. The biggest negative for me is, while it's nice to see Kinski in a film, always like to see him, never a bad thing, he's criminally underutilised in this film. Like, they get this guy who's famous as being a wild man actor, and they just sort of shove him in a room and forget about him. He's in about 3 scenes and he barely says anything. And on top of this, he doesn't even do his own English dub, even though he's known to be able to speak English, and I'm used to seeing some of the English versions of the Herzog films where he does his own lines. It's really weird hearing somebody else's voice come out of his mouth. But that's the worst I can say about this film, and the rest of the stuff really makes up for this.
Toutes ces énergies.
So for this review, I did as I usually do and watched the first option available, being the English dub. And it's not too bad. It does dip back into Italian every now and then. I assume it's for re-added scenes or something like that. It's not too distracting though. It does happen more frequently than I've seen in some of these other Shameless releases, but it's not awful. Outside of that, this film looks amazing. It's a really clean 4K restoration. Visuals, the colour, the picture, really, really nice. Really all adds to the amazing way that it's shot as well. It all just works really well. And the same can be said for the sound as well. No problems with the print at all. Really does look and sound the part. And on the disc, well, to start with, there is no pre-menu trailers. Shameless usually put 2 or 3 trailers at the beginning before the menu pops up. This time, nothing at all. There might be a reason why, or maybe not. We'll talk about that in the next section though. Also on the disc, we get 3 versions of the film. So we get the integral version, which is the version that I watched, and this is the longest running version, being 96 minutes. But it doesn't have end credits, it just has a black screen with piano music playing where the credits should be. And that's because they then have the integral cut with Italian credits, which is the same film, same runtime and all that, but it has end credits that are in Italian, and it changes out the beginning credits from English to Italian. I don't really know. It just seems really nitpicky that they've got this second version that's exactly the same, apart from it's got Italian credits. I don't know. Somebody out there will be like, oh, thank you, I'm glad they've got this version, I'm sure. And lastly, the last of the 3 versions is the US cut, which comes in at 2 minutes shorter. What else have we got on the disc then? Well, we've got the normal stuff. We've got the English dub, Italian dub with English subs. We have a Italian trailer, and we've got a bunch of interviews. Oh, there's audio commentary in there as well. And then we've got a bunch of interviews. We have 7 minutes with Florinda Balkan. We have 12 minutes with Ida Garley, keep forgetting her name. And lastly, we have a whopping hour and 17 minutes with Storaro, like nearly a feature-length interview. Honestly, while the variety is not massive on the disc with the extras, you do get a lot. It's not the worst. I do always like it when there's alternate versions of the film as well on the disc. Honestly, it's pretty good, pretty decent. Okay, time for the case. We have another black slipcover, which is nice, keeping in line with the most recent releases. The description's really good, it really sells the film. It made me quite excited to watch it, to be honest. Again though, it does differ slightly between the slip and the case. I don't really know why they do this again, must be just for formatting, but it's always a bit odd to see. All the information seems to be correct though. Even lists both run times, which is nice. And once again, we get a reversible cover with different artwork, and I like all the designs on this release and this packaging, to be honest. All looks really, really cool. This is the first Shameless Blu Ray to not have an 18 certificate. This one being rated a 12 instead. It's really weird that they didn't just do the usual thing that I'm sure they've done multiple times throughout the collection and just shove some 18 certificate trailers at the beginning or at the end just to bump it up. Like they've done it in the past for quite a few of these, I think. Just to make the collection a bit more uniform with the 18 certificates, but oh well, we've got a 12 in here now. Really weird. Lastly, this is a numbered version, and I went in for one of the low numbered editions, and I got 0215. Pretty low, not too bad. Overall then, I really enjoyed this one. It's a slow film, but it does do a lot to set the right mood for the pace, and it kept me engaged, and it really, really looks nice. I'd definitely say check this one out. Definitely gets my recommendation. And this release is pretty great as well. Really nice print, and you get a few extras if you're into that sort of thing. Now, for those who import, there is a US 2-disc Blu-ray by Severin. But I don't know, it's probably just the same print, and you could probably save a bit of cash by getting this one. So yeah, pretty decent and a good way to start this Shameless double release double bill. So as I said at the beginning, this was part 1, and if you're watching this as it comes out, stick around on the channel for a little bit and the next review will be out very shortly. If you're watching this in the future, then maybe check over on the channel and you may see that there's another review that came out on the same day. That'll be part 2 of this series, and that will be titled Killer Nun.